This is amazing. You know, normally I don't make response videos to lunatics like yourself, but this was so abhorrent, so appalling, in this fucking day and age. Then again, I'm not surprised. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, because I've been noticing this trend recently. As society is continuing to develop and kind of evolve itself, and I know evolve is a word you types tend to hate, but as we continue to readjust our morality and realize that we need to come up with more civilized ways of dealing with people, as society continues to develop, people like yourselves, religious types like yourselves, who want to continue keeping life as downtrodden as possible, are finding their ways of life disappearing. And so the ugliness that's in their hearts are really beginning to show as you constantly try to defend beliefs that have no place in a civilized world. So the victim card thing seems to be something that you guys are constantly using. You're trying to flip the game now. Because modern society is showing just how repulsive your old ways of life were, and because you don't want to let go of that because it allows you to be reprehensible towards others, you're now trying to play the victim card. So in this case, you're trying to switch the word tolerance around, trying to say that free thinkers and atheists and skeptics are intolerant of you because we don't like your beliefs and we're trying to stop your beliefs, so we're just as intolerant as you guys are and we shouldn't use the tolerance card and we're just as narrow-minded as you. Nice try, but anybody with a thinking mind can see that it doesn't add up. No, it ain't the same thing. And you might be going, yes, it is, yes, it is. Allow me to fix that mind of yours a little bit. There's a difference between being tolerant of another human being and tolerant of a belief system that would limit the life of that human being. I'll say it again. There is a difference between tolerant of human beings and tolerant of any way of life or any belief system or any philosophy or any political structure that would limit the life of that human being. Free thinkers, atheists, skeptics, and the like are tolerant of other human beings, but are not tolerant of anything that would limit that human being from living a full life. And any civilized world would also agree with that, since no civilized world, no civilized part of the world, believes in discriminating against other human beings for the most minuscule of reasons. You're trying to say that your belief that gays should be discriminated against should be tolerated. No civilized world would accept that. Is that hard for you to understand? Are you so completely brainwashed by that old moldy book of yours that you can't seem to figure that out? A modern civilized world frowns upon the shit that you're trying to espouse. It's not being intolerant of you. It's being civilized. You're basically trying to infringe upon the rights of other people. But you're trying to flip it around and say, oh, they're trying to be intolerant of my rights to discriminate against these people. That's not a fucking right. That's a crime. You're also... Let's think about this for a second. I know thinking is a hard thing for people like you to do, but just think for a bit. If gay people get married, how is that infringing upon your rights? Basically allowing gay people to get married doesn't mean that you're going to be forced to marry a man if you didn't want to. It's not forcing women to be married to women if they didn't want to. You don't have to be witness to the event of gay people getting married. They're not going to get married in your house. They're not going to force you to sit down in any of their weddings. They're not going to force you to kiss a man or anything like that. They're just getting married just like any other person could in this country. In other words, they'd be enjoying the same rights that you and I have. How's it infringing upon yours? You don't have a right to discriminate against other people. Especially in a secular nation. Remember that word secular? I know you hate it and you're trying to give it a different definition, but all secular means is a country that tolerates other religions and no one religion has preference over another. Remember your history class or your political science class or anything like that? We have laws in this country. It's called the Constitution. In the Constitution, it is stated that you can't have one religion infringing upon the rights of another one. Separation of church and state. Remember that? This, by the way, is how come you're not allowed to have prayer sessions in public schools. It has nothing to do with infringing upon your right of religion. Fuck you. You can pray in any class that you want to be in. Anybody, if they're in class and it's the beginning of the day, can sit at their desk and make their little prayer. The difference is when you're in a public school and you're trying to lead a prayer session. The reason why that is frowned upon and against the law is because a public school is run by the state, a secular state that doesn't have any preference over one religion from another. Therefore, if a teacher who is working for a state institution and thus is representative of that state leads a prayer session, what they are doing is basically saying that this religion is sanctioned by that state. That's against the law. Is that hard for you to understand? Are you that fucking stupid that you just can't see that? If you want to lead a prayer session in school, there are plenty of religious schools out there for you to join. Lots of Catholic schools. I came from one. Got Catholic schools, got evangelist schools, got Baptist schools, Mormon schools. They're all over the place. Go to one of those and have fun with your prayer sessions. But a public school is run by the state. And the state is secular. Therefore, you cannot have one particular religious session going on. So it's not infringing upon your rights, it's following the law. And by the way, even if you're then going to be saying, well, that law is infringing upon my right. No, it's not, because again, you could pray in there if you want to. You just can't lead a prayer session in a public school. And any civilized country would be for that anyway, since a civilized country is, here's the word, tolerant of other religious views. If you're leading a Christian prayer session and there happen to be a couple of Jewish people or Muslim people there, they're kind of left out the loop, aren't they? A civilized country tries to have laws that accommodate everyone as long as they're following that law. Gay people, for the most part, follow the law. They pay their taxes. They don't infringe upon other people's rights. They contribute to society. They don't go on crime sprees. They are citizens just like you and me. Therefore, they are deserving of the same rights that anyone else gets for following the laws of the state. Now, we can argue, of course, about if the failings of the state and come up with anarchist stuff, but that's not the topic of this video. The topic of this video is, do you have a right to discriminate against somebody in a secular country, a civilized country? The answer is no. And trying to twist it around and say that, well, you're being intolerant of me then, is bullshit. You might as well say, if you're going to be coming with that argument, then that means when they bust a thief for stealing a car, he should be able to make the same argument. You're infringing upon my right to steal this car. I believe I should be allowed to steal this car. Or kill this woman because I don't like women. Or set fire to this house. I believe I should set fire to this house. My beliefs say that arson is good. It's how I connect to my God. Your only justification for your bullshit for belief that you should be allowed to discriminate against other people is a book that has been constructed by men, has been constantly proven to be erroneous in so many ways, is contradictory in and of itself, and hasn't even been completed until the 1500s. And you're trying to tell me that this is the ultimate book of authority that tells you that it's okay to discriminate against people and should be your lease, your license, your right to fuck up other people's lives, and that anybody else is saying that is intolerant? What the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously, what the hell is wrong with you? How do you live with yourself that you can put out a video basically trying to say that your right to discriminate against people should be championed, and that anybody who speaks out against that is being intolerant? What is wrong with you? Are you that fucked up? Did your religion fuck you up that much that you can't see how morally repugnant that is? And that's what cracks me up, because when it comes to the subject of morality, you religious types love talking about how you're the most moral people on the planet. Yet time and time again, you constantly do these abhorrent actions and then try to defend them. You are on YouTube right now putting out a video saying that your rights to discriminate against people should not be infringed upon, and that we're being intolerant of you for speaking out against it. And you think you're right. This video of mine is probably not going to sway you any way whatsoever. You don't see how morally repugnant you are. How do you live with yourself? No civilized world could look at this and say, he's got a point. And you know what? I shouldn't be surprised that you're still trying to do this shit, because you're the same type of people who during the 60s tried to keep people like me from having rights. Just because we had a little bit of extra melanin in our skin, these people shouldn't be allowed to vote. They shouldn't integrate in society. They're bad. They're morally repugnant people. They shouldn't intermingle. They shouldn't intermarry with white people either. Their children will be evil and brain damage or whatever. Go ahead, look up the history. Most of those people saying that shit were avowed Christians, using their belief to back up their repugnant claims. And here you are doing it again with homosexuals now. How do you live with yourself? Really? How the fuck do you live with yourself?